Buckingham Palace has officially confirmed what many insiders had feared for weeks. Meghan Markle has crossed a boundary the monarchy cannot and will not ignore. London, 15th of January, 2026. Today, the palace delivered a statement that was sharper than any seen in recent memory, unusually public and unequivocally final. Royal heritage is not a commodity to be used for personal gain. A senior palace official told reporters late Monday evening that any use of royal symbols without explicit consent constitutes appropriation, not affiliation. The message was deliberate, loud, and unmistakable, leaving no room for misinterpretation. What triggered this rare display of bluntness from an institution that has long prided itself on restraint and discretion? According to multiple palace sources, the answer points directly to Meghan Markle herself. In late December, she quietly submitted a formal letter to the royal household seeking permission to use royal-style motifs on consumer products marketed under her California lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. Among the items targeted was her newest revenue driver, the Artisan Jam collection, an ambitious launch that had been quietly ramping up for months. The letter, which was reviewed by 2 legal advisors before being forwarded to Buckingham Palace on the 18th of December 2025, read less like a petition and more like a declaration of intent. Meghan outlined plans to incorporate stylized heraldic iconography, intricate crests, flowing botanical scrollwork, and other motifs identical to Sussex court-era engravings into the packaging of her products, including the infamous KKO cup. She asserted that her blood ties, forged through marriage into the House of Windsor, entitled her to use what she called Sussex heritage symbols. She argued that this move would promote royal legacy globally, positioning her brand as a force for good, extending the crown's reach into modern consumer culture while simultaneously serving as advertising for the monarchy itself. In her framing, what benefits her brand directly benefits the palace. The palace's reaction was immediate and electric, but not with shock. The alarm was profound. The responsibility to respond fell to 2 women whose influence rarely receives public acknowledgement. H. Princess Anne, Royal Princess, Guardian of Tradition, Protocol and Continuity, and H. Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, unofficial steward of modern royal boundaries and institutional ethics, were tasked with drafting a response. By 20 December, they had circulated a confidential directive across Kensington Palace, Clarence House, and Sandringham. The directive was clear and uncompromising. No member of the royal family, whether active, retired, or former, may commercialise royal attributes, including motifs, insignia, or patterns. This extended to any inspiration lifted from regalia, heraldry, or institutional archives. This was far more than a simple rejection. It was a policy line drawn in ink and iron, a firm declaration of the monarchy's boundaries. Yet within days, it became painfully clear that Meghan had no intention of halting her plans. When the first shipments of the American Riviera Orchard Winter Trio Jam collection began leaving fulfillment centers in Santa Clarita, California, observant British journalists immediately noticed something alarming. The jars displayed exactly the imagery the palace had forbidden: vine-wrapped initials, stylized crown silhouettes, and gold filigree directly lifted from the Royal Collection engraving catalogues. The website copy described the designs as a tribute to legacy, tradition, and the Sussex lineage inside Windsor Castle. Patience evaporated. According to an aide to Princess Anne, the Princess Royal felt as if the very vaults of the palace had been rattled. A line had not just been crossed, it had been trampled for profit, brazenly. Palace insiders confirmed that on 27th December, a second, far stronger directive was issued. This mandate demanded immediate cessation of all commercial use of royal-associated imagery, warning that any future attempts would trigger legal referral to both the Cabinet Office and the UK Intellectual Property Office. The language was cold, legalistic, and deliberate. The palace made it abundantly clear that this was not a misunderstanding or an overreaction. It was a response to a calculated attempt to monetize the monarchy. The stakes were far higher than marketing aesthetics or branding. Royal imagery is a constitutional, cultural, and diplomatic matter, protected not by the Windsors themselves, but by the United Kingdom. It belongs to the state, to history and ultimately to the British public. Meghan's argument that her brand could extend royal heritage into the commercial sector landed like a blaring alarm inside the palace. For Princess Anne and Sophie, commercialisation was not preservation. It was commodification. Crowns became props, legacy became logos, and monarchy became merchandise. A senior advisor put it bluntly, "If we allow this on a jam jar, next comes handbags, sneakers, cosmetics, and TV licensing deals." For the first time since the Sussexes' 2020 departure, the palace acted less like a family addressing difficult relatives and more like an institution defending its legal and cultural perimeter. And as of 15th January 2026, officials confirmed this was no longer an internal matter. It was escalating outward, to government regulators, and potentially to the courts. Meghan Markle had not merely contested the monarchy's authority, she had challenged who owns British identity itself, forcing the crown into uncharted territory. The scandal escalated further on the 3rd of January 2026, when a series of internal sales documents from American Riviera Orchard were leaked via a boutique distribution analytics platform. The documents revealed figures that directly contradicted the public narrative Meghan had attempted to spin just days earlier. Veteran royal journalist Kate Mancy of the Times of London published what appeared to be a triumphant scoop. Meghan Markle had sold 860,000 trio boxes of jam, generating over $36 million in revenue since the brand's launch. The figure spread like wildfire across British tabloids and American lifestyle blogs, framed as Meghan's vindication after months of criticism and her alleged exclusion from royal life. However, the narrative quickly unravelled. Brittany Clark, host of the popular YouTube channel Royal News Network, issued a blistering rebuttal. "This is the most amateur statistical manipulation I've ever seen from a celebrity PR team." Clark explained that each trio box contained 3 small jars, meaning the 860,000 figure likely referred to individual jars, not boxes. At the reported price of $14 per jar, the actual revenue would be closer to $12 million, not $36 million. Even that figure was soon disproven. Internal fulfillment data, published on the 3rd of January, revealed over 500,000 jars, honey candles, and other products still languishing in warehouses in San Bernardino, California, and outside Atlanta, Georgia. Meghan's own interviews in September 2025 had stated that she initially ordered just a few thousand jars for a soft launch. Later in the autumn, as pressure to succeed mounted, she greenlit a last-minute order of 1 million jars for holiday gifting and influencer campaigns. By early January, only about 300,000 units had shipped, not sold, while wholesale returns from boutique partners continued to accumulate. Consumer reviews flagged inconsistent packaging, leaking jars, and other product quality issues. Despite these setbacks, Meghan remained publicly silent, a silence that sent shockwaves through royal watchers. As one former Sussex PR consultant noted off-record, if she had truly sold 860,000 boxes, we would already be seeing champagne on Instagram and a Wall Street Journal profile. Analysts also noted her marketing strategy relied heavily on creating a manufactured scarcity narrative. This included low-quantity banners on her website, countdown timers implying high demand, and influencers showcasing limited edition labels, many of which were never actually sold. The overarching goal was clear: create the illusion of prestige and demand, allowing price markups well above market rates. Similar artisanal preserves normally sold for $45 per trio box, more than double premium brands like Fortnum and Mason or Bon Maman Limited Reserve, yet customer sentiment was lukewarm at best. Online reviews across Etsy, Instagram, and gourmet blogs described the products as beautifully boxed but underwhelming, more a souvenir than a serious food item, and one reviewer admitted, "I bought it for the drama, not the jam." On 13th January 2026, the royal household, backed by the UK Culture Office and the Department for Trade, issued a formal directive. All commercial usage of royal associated imagery in the United States or any international markets must cease immediately. Failure to comply would result in a joint investigation involving both the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the British Intellectual Property Office. The document was signed off by the Lord Chamberlain, the director of the Royal Collection Trust, and senior representatives from the Cabinet Office. This marked the first time since 1936 that a royal family-related commercial entity had faced this level of formal interdiction by the British state. And the order didn't stop there. It further mandated that Meghan Markle must submit all new packaging designs for review by cultural regulators before any further shipments could be released, ensuring that the palace retained strict oversight over any use of royal imagery, protecting both centuries of tradition and the integrity of the monarchy itself. Her California distribution partner, Rosebridge Gourmet, has been ordered to immediately suspend the sale of any products bearing heritage-themed designs until they are officially certified compliant. A compliance liaison must be established between American Riviera Orchard and the UK Cultural Office no later than 20th January 2026. Failure to meet these terms would result in formal breach notices, potential international trade penalties, and an almost unthinkable outcome for someone once married to a son of the future king. The legal chaos could not have arrived at a worse time. For Meghan's team, the stakes were massive. She had just confirmed a $2.4 million gift order contract with Floorfield Emporium, a boutique holiday distributor based in New York, for 110,000 gift boxes, scheduled to be delivered by 22nd January 2026. The contract also included an optional second order of 250,000 boxes, contingent on sell-through performance. With her entire packaging model now deemed non-compliant, the situation had become a ticking time bomb. Lawyers from Floorfield have already served notice. Any delay past 25th January would trigger a breach, forfeiting $1.70 million in penalty fees. If regulators in either the UK or US flag the products, the entire batch could be blocked from export markets. An insider at Floorfield summed up the stakes bluntly. If these boxes don't clear customs or pass cultural checks, we're eating millions. And throughout all of this, Meghan's silence persists. No posts, no press appearances, no damage control, not even a single tweet to reassure partners or the public. By 15th January 2026, the British royal family was no longer merely reacting to the crisis surrounding Meghan Markle's controversial business dealings. They were taking decisive action to define new institutional boundaries. In doing so, they were redrawing the map of what it means to be royal in a post-exit world. At the centre of this shift was Prince William, the Prince of Wales, who, according to palace aides, has assumed a firm leadership stance behind closed doors following an emergency roundtable. The roundtable, held on the 12th of January at Kensington Palace and convened by William, included Catherine, Princess Anne, and the Lord Chamberlain. From it emerged what insiders are calling the Visual Sovereignty Protocol, a strict framework codifying 3 non-negotiable tenets. No royal identity may be reproduced for private gain. No symbolic affiliation may be claimed without active service, and no royal access, physical narrative, or cultural connection may be inferred by any commercial entity not authorised by the Crown. As one aide emphasised, we're not just protecting a logo, we're protecting the legitimacy of service. The message to Meghan was unequivocal. You walked away from duty. You may not walk back in through packaging. Meanwhile, Prince Harry faces his own mounting storm, one with potentially far-reaching consequences. A summons issued by the High Court in London requires his presence in Britain before 31st January 2026 in connection with his ongoing privacy lawsuit. On Sunday, separate legal pressures emerged, a libel action involving The Sun and, most critically, the newly reopened investigation into the Archewell Foundation's financial misconduct. This third front is reportedly the most serious. On January 4th, the California Attorney General's office confirmed that the Archewell Foundation, co-founded by Harry and Meghan in 2020, was officially listed as delinquent in compliance filings, triggering an automatic review. What began as a procedural lapse has now escalated into a full-scale forensic audit spanning both sides of the Atlantic. At issue, the disappearance of up to $11 million in donor funds between 2022 and 2025, the alleged redirection of charitable funds into personal brand infrastructure, and troubling overlap between Archewell's finances and the production costs of American Riviera Orchard. Financial documents obtained under California transparency laws reveal eyebrow-raising expenditures, nearly $1.4 million on narrative strategy consultation, a private charter flight from Los Angeles to Vancouver, reportedly for Meghan's product shoot, and over $700,000 spent on digital film production for a mini-documentary that was never released, now believed to have been repurposed as marketing content for the American Riviera brand. These numbers are not just embarrassing, they are institutional threats, according to a source within the Duchy of Cornwall's Treasury Office. William had been monitoring Archewell's filings since mid-2025, using financial experts who previously oversaw the Crown Estate's $1.4 billion portfolio. A courtier close to him noted that when the math didn't add up, William understood exactly what it meant. This was not chaos, this was design. Rather than intervene directly, the Prince of Wales issued a private directive to his team. Do not engage the Crown. The monarchy will not defend mismanagement masquerading as charitable mission. With Harry residing in the United States under an O1 visa reserved for individuals of extraordinary ability, any findings of mismanagement or financial impropriety could result in immediate visa cancellation, denial of future re-entry, and a public black mark on future business ventures. To mitigate these risks, sources say Harry has retreated into isolation at the San Vicente Bungalows, an ultra-private, members-only compound in West Hollywood. Known for military-grade security, a no-camera policy, and enforced phone sticker protocols, the location ensures zero leaks, even from staff. Insiders now believe Harry's seclusion is part of a carefully orchestrated legal strategy to demonstrate non-involvement in Meghan's business decisions and distance himself from Archewell's operational chaos. He is drawing a clear, deliberate line between himself and Meghan, not for emotional reasons, but legal ones. For the public, the divide is increasingly obvious. Meghan has remained conspicuously absent from all promotional platforms since the 6th of January, offering no holiday card, no public statement, no joint appearances. Palace sources suggest the estrangement is tactical, designed to protect Harry's long-term US residency and minimize shared liability, but optics are unavoidable. The couple who once claimed to share everything now appears to be sharing nothing but fallout. One courtier bluntly told the Clarion, "They built a fortress out of publicity, now they're drowning in its moat. Different stakes, same battleground." If Meghan Markle thought the jam jar controversy would quietly fade under the weight of flashier scandals, she gravely miscalculated. What began as a branding faux pas has transformed into an unprecedented cultural standoff, one in which the Crown, the British government, and public institutions are aligned firmly against her. On 13th January 2026, the UK Department for Culture, Media and Sport issued an extraordinary joint notice in coordination with the Intellectual Property Office, the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, and Cabinet Office Legal Counsel. The subject line was blunt: unauthorised use of royal symbolism in commercial goods. The statement declared that any private citizen, regardless of former royal association, is forbidden from reproducing royal crests, facsimiles, visual designs derived from the royal collection, phrases, or motifs linked to crown estates or noble houses. While Meghan was not named directly, the implication was unmistakable. Unauthorised use of protected cultural signifiers constitutes a violation of soft heritage law. The document warns that violators shall be met with corrective action, including international notice and delivery of remedial action. Shortly after, British authorities contacted counterparts at the United States Patent and Trademark Office, filing an alert that American Riviera Orchard may be in breach of bilateral cultural protection agreements. This referral triggered an immediate freeze on Meghan's pending US trademark update for the American Riviera Orchard Royal Line Edition, discreetly filed in late November 2025. The filing included a crest-like logo for her honey jars and linen wraps, taglines such as "Inspired by the House of Sussex" and descriptors promoting a legacy of service for a lifestyle of substance. The USPTO has since flagged the submission for pending investigation, effectively suspending Meghan's ability to scale the product nationwide until resolved. As of January 15th, her legal team had yet to publicly comment, but the delay is already causing panic among retail partners. A leaked memo from Floorfield Emporium, the boutique gifting conglomerate in New York, revealed that Meghan's January shipment of 110,000 royal-themed gift boxes had been held at the Port of Los Angeles since 12th January. The problem? The packaging still contained unauthorized heraldic flourishes, and customs officials, acting on a cultural protection alert, are refusing clearance until new labels are applied. The contract, valued at $2.40 million with a delivery deadline of 22nd January 2026, carries the looming threat of $1.70 million in financial penalties. The fallout from Meghan Markle's jam jar debacle continues to spiral, now threatening a potential $6 million follow-up order for Mother's Day inventory and putting her brand on the verge of being blacklisted from upscale gourmet distributors in Boston, Toronto, and Sydney. One Floorfield executive described the situation bluntly. "This is brand sabotage in slow motion. We were promised prestige. What we got is a collapse. The implosion isn't happening quietly. It's unfolding under the watchful eyes of the palace, and the person spearheading the cultural defence isn't King Charles or Prince William, but Princess Anne herself, known in palace circles as the Windsor Iron Spine. Anne has personally overseen the review of every instance of royal visual language since Meghan's departure in 2020. Sources confirm she examined the jam label designs Meghan submitted in her December 2025 Heritage Intent document and rejected them within 12 hours. Her handwritten notes in the margins were clear. "This is not a tribute. This is camouflage." That memo has now been filed into the Royal Archives under a newly created record titled Commercial Appropriation of Cultural Sovereignty. December 2025 incident. A senior historian at the Royal Collection Trust explained that this designation carries institutional weight, cementing the event as precedent in royal law, essentially future-proofing enforcement. While Princess Anne handles policy and enforcement, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, has taken on a complementary role, focusing on public-facing standards. On January 11th, Sophie convened a private session with representatives from the Royal Warrant Holders Association, the British Fashion and Textile Council, and the Royal Gift Registry. Their goal: tighten regulations and enforcement protocols around royal-themed commercial partnerships, ensuring there is no ambiguity in visual representation, no unauthorized influencer partnerships leveraging royal patronage, and no loopholes allowing legacy exploitation through unregulated storytelling. A palace memo from that meeting stressed, "We must tighten not just the law, but the emotion around it. The public must feel the difference between earned and borrowed royalty." Throughout this maelstrom, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has remained notably silent, but sources say her quiet is far from passive. While Anne and Sophie manage the external boundaries, Catherine has been carefully rebuilding the internal narrative. A Kensington Palace advisor confirmed that in early January, Catherine assumed full oversight of all youth-facing charitable initiatives previously tied to Archie and Lilibet. The Royal Early Learning Programme has been rebranded Foundations for Service, and the Heirloom Reading Fund now exclusively cites active working royals in all marketing and educational materials, stripping away all residual Sussex associations. Catherine is methodically closing doors for the next generation, ensuring no ambiguity remains in their understanding of royal legacy. Until now, Meghan Markle's post-royal media strategy rested on three pillars: personal narrative as power, brand intimacy over institutional formality, and perpetual reinvention in the face of scandal. Since the jam packaging controversy erupted, none of those levers seem effective. In fact, insiders say they may be accelerating the backlash. One striking aspect noted by PR experts and retail analysts is Meghan's complete silence. Since January 6, 2026, she has issued no statement, responded to media inquiries, appeared in public, or posted on American Riviera Orchard's official channels. Crisis manager Daniel McAllister, who has worked with high-profile entertainment clients in LA, remarked, "When someone who normally announces new shoes with a newsletter goes dark during a scandal, you know the internal damage is real." Even close friends in the California media circuit reportedly admit confusion. One entertainment journalist at People magazine said off the record, "She usually spins drama into dominance. This time, she just vanished." Much of the fallout stems not from the jam itself, but from the mismanaged media strategy surrounding it. In early December, American Riviera Orchard had planned to launch a short-form lifestyle series on YouTube and Netflix's Made for More channel, showcasing Meghan's production kitchen, behind-the-scenes brand moments, and curated family interactions for warmth and authenticity. The campaign was timed to coincide with the official rollout of the Royal Line edition in partnership with luxury retailer Laurels and Pine in San Francisco. But when the tiaras, motifs, and heraldic floral designs were flagged by royal archivists in mid-December and banned in early January, the entire media campaign was scrapped. The final footage, nearly 18 minutes of polished, colour-graded content, was never released. Internal documents show production costs exceeded $1.2 million, much of it allegedly billed to Archewell Foundation under narrative documentation initiatives. That overlap is now under review by both the California Attorney General and the IRS as part of a broader forensic audit of Archewell's finances. Shipping data and logistics reports from As Ever and Gravestone Supply Chain Solutions confirm that as of 14th January, only 31% of Meghan's winter jam stock had sold, leaving 543,000 jars in US warehouses. Wholesale return rates from boutique distributors had risen to 17%, while online reviews on Amazon, Etsy, and other platforms were lukewarm, citing crystallized sugar, weak flavor, inconsistent packaging, and gimmicky presentation. Distributors including Rosebridge Gourmet, Sapling Lane Foods, and La Dougou have paused orders or terminated agreements altogether, citing reputational risks tied to unauthorized royal imagery. One buyer commented bluntly, "It's not even about the jam anymore, it's about trust. Customers don't want to be part of a scandal." Even in the US, where Meghan once enjoyed near-universal celebrity support, public sentiment has shifted dramatically. A poll conducted between 11th to 13th January showed that only 29% of respondents believed Meghan acted appropriately in invoking royal symbols for her products. 52% said she was intentionally misleading consumers, and 61% said she should have sought permission and respected the monarchy's authority. Netflix has reportedly pulled promotional support for the proposed American Riviera docuseries, placing it on hold pending internal review. An anonymous executive told Deadline, "Meghan used to represent modern womanhood, now she's starting to represent unchecked entitlement, and that doesn't play well." Over the past 5 days, major outlets in the UK and US have weighed in with blunt, unflinching headlines. The Telegraph ran, "Royal to Retail, Meghan's Brand Crisis in a Jar." Daily Mail, "Jam Catastrophe, How Meghan's Sweet Plan Turns Sour." The Times, "Sussex Commercial Experiment, When Heritage Meets Hubris." And The Atlantic, "Monarchs, Markets and the Meaning of Legacy, a Case Study in Meghan Markle." Every article drives home the same conclusion. Meghan overplayed her hand, attempting to tiptoe into royal territory without triggering alarms. Dr. Hannah Carlyle, a cultural historian at King's College London, noted, "What she forgot is that the Crown watches everything. Nothing slips by unnoticed." In response to the mounting crisis, Princess Anne and Duchess Sophie finalised a royal household directive leaked to the Clarion on 15th January, titled "Immediate Cessation of Cultural Referencing by Former Working Royals, Enforcement Protocol 2026. The 12-page document states that any public-facing reference to Sussex heritage, Crown affiliation, or royal design-inspired language will now be treated as a breach of sovereign dignity. No further requests for commercial permissions from Harry or Meghan will be reviewed or acknowledged, and royal staff and advisors are strictly forbidden from participating in projects involving the Sussex household, regardless of platform, theme, or scope. The tone of the directive is cold, unequivocal, and final. The last line reads, "There shall be no commerce by proxy. The legacy of the Crown is not for rent." On January 15, 2026, the monarchy marked not just the close of the holiday season, but the conclusion of a chapter that began with Meghan Markle's jam jars and ended with a sweeping royal doctrine now referred to among palace staff as the Windsor containment policy. At its core, the message is simple. You cannot resign from royalty and continue to brand it. This policy, co-signed by Princess Anne, Prince William, and senior figures at the Privy Council office, outlines a system for blocking future commercial exploitation of royal identity. It coordinates with global trademark and customs agencies, creating a legacy firewall preventing indirect association via packaging, partnerships, or family narrative. The system will be monitored jointly by the Royal Archives, the Cultural Safeguarding Office, and a newly formed Institutional Identity Committee reporting directly to William and Anne. In effect, it is the monarchy's immune system, designed to prevent what Meghan's jam labels nearly caused: undeniable royal legacy being commodified even from within. In Montecito, California, American Riviera Orchard remains in crisis mode. Fulfillment partners are backing out, trademark filings are under federal review, lawsuits from boutique partners loom, and Meghan Markle remains silent. Even Oprah Winfrey, once a staunch ally, has reportedly distanced herself from the current developments. Meanwhile, Prince Harry prepares for his return to the UK under a court summons, facing a media libel trial, a financial investigation tied to Archewell, and the psychological burden of watching every institutional bridge burn, one press release at a time. Palace insiders confirm that Catherine, Princess of Wales, personally oversaw the removal of all Sussex-affiliated materials from the 2026 Youth Legacy campaign. A statement from Kensington Palace reads, "The royal family continues to champion public service, not personal promotion." Privately, William is said to have delivered one of the defining lines of the entire affair to his father: "If we allow this, we lose the monarchy. Not tomorrow, not next year, but eventually." Charles, recovering steadily from cancer treatment, agreed. With that, the gate was sealed. What remains now is more than fallout. It is a philosophical reckoning. Meghan attempted to repackage royalty into lifestyle, but the monarchy, for all its flaws, is not a product. It is a system, a symbol, a contract, one you serve, one you do not sell. As one palace historian put it best, she treated it like a flavour. But royalty is not jam. It does not belong in jars. If you found this breakdown shocking and want more inside looks at royal controversies, make sure to comment below and subscribe for all the latest palace drama updates.